Seth David here from the world famous Nerd Enterprises Incorporated, the newly famous SethDavid.com. And I'm here today to talk to you about taking on new apps to boost your client services. So a lot of us are using QuickBooks Online. I have pretty much all of my clients in QuickBooks Online at this point. And by now, hopefully, we're all pretty clear that when you use a product like QuickBooks Online for your core accounting app, you'll need to look at building the ecosystem, which really means looking at the apps that you're going to use to work with QuickBooks Online to help your business processes run more efficiently, more effectively, and with more complete of a solution. So if I'm looking at a company who maybe wants to go into QuickBooks Online but has complex inventory needs, but beyond what QuickBooks Online can do on its own, then I might suggest something like Dear Inventory. Dear Inventory is an app, one of several that syncs with QuickBooks Online that from what I've seen so far looks really compelling. There are others. SOS Inventory is probably the one that's been around the longest, but to be very honest, I'm a fan of Dear Inventory because when I look at it, I find the user interface to be much more inspiring. It looks very clean and neatly laid out, and I like that because that gives me the feeling that when I do need to understand how to do something or how to get information out of the system, it's going to be easy to do. So the user interface is important on these apps. The question, of course, becomes how do I know when to look for an app? Well, I just gave you one example. Somebody comes into you as a client and has a need, wants to go to QuickBooks Online, but wants to make sure they can, do all of the robust things that they may have grown accustomed to being able to do with QuickBooks Desktop, especially if they're using something like QuickBooks Enterprise with advanced inventory. That's where to move them to QuickBooks Online and get that same functionality, then QuickBooks Online with Dear Inventory is probably the right solution. So it's really, one answer is when the need arises. When the need arises, you start doing your research. You go to apps.com and you start doing searches for whatever it is that you need. Search for inventory in apps.com and you'll find all the inventory apps that work with QuickBooks Online. So there are going to be the industry-specific things that you need, or the sort of client-specific things like inventory. Then there are going to be the general business processes. Do you need to use Bill.com? And here's my answer on that. I love Bill.com, and I absolutely use Bill.com when I need to. But do I always need to? No. In fact, I'll tell you exactly when I don't need Bill.com. When I have a client, and pretty much most of my focus these days is on these kinds of clients who, for example, are doing $1 million and up a year in annual revenues. And their cash flow is more than sufficient to be able to pay their bills the minute they come out, not waiting till they're due, not having to because they have enough cash flow, then I don't need to spend the money on Bill.com, frankly. It's a little bit more work up front, but I can go into each of these vendors that my client pays every month and configure autopay on almost all of them. And then for the maybe 2 or 3 or at the most 5 from what I've encountered so far, one-off companies where there's no way to log in online, or there is, but there's no auto pay option, then I can go into their bank and configure their bill pay to pay those few one-offs. But the bottom line is most of it's going to be set it and forget it in cases like that. So, and if I do need to monitor cash flow a little more closely, then without hesitation I introduce Bill.com because Bill.com obviously dramatically increases the efficiency of the whole accounts payable cycle and accounts receivable. I focus more on accounts payable with Bill.com because on the receivable side I've frankly found it a little more difficult to get my clients to buy in and pay through Bill.com on the receivable side. Sometimes it works great, but if not that, then you have QuickBooks Payments. And I would strongly encourage you to have both ready for your clients or your clients' clients to be able to pay that way. Give them the choice. Let them decide what they're most comfortable with. I've had some clients who, with Bill.com, I sent them the invite to, to set up their account to pay me through ACH, and they start getting asked questions that frankly make some people feel very uncomfortable. So they've opted out of that. I've had that happen. So, Bill.com is a great option, definitely for the payables. For the receivables, I've found it a little more challenging, like I said, to get people to buy in. So it's really just a matter of deciding what you need, and when the need arises is probably the best barometer for when to go look for something. Outside of that, you can certainly spend your time, as I've done. If you decide, let's say, at the moment you decide, maybe even before you have a single client, you decide you want to serve a certain industry, then you can search apps.com for that industry. Search apps.com for construction. And while you're at it, if you're looking at serving construction clients, then you probably want to do some searches for things like job costing and find out what apps are available out there for job costing. Notify is a super powerful app for job costing. I was just recently introduced to one of those apps that once I had a look at it, I said, I wish I had seen this a long time ago. So, that's definitely one to take a look at for the job costing. What else can I tell you? The reality is it's got to be kind of an organic process, I think. You have to think about what do I need and spend the time on apps.com. If need be, book an hour with yourself on your calendar to spend on apps.com and just search around, see what's there. That's actually what I've done. I call myself a nerd for a reason. I don't have much of a social life. I go out, I don't go out on Friday nights. I might stay home on a Friday night searching apps.com to see what I want to learn more about and which products I want to dive into. And for me, it's not just about using it for my clients. It's about using, acquiring the knowledge so I can use that knowledge to create content to better serve and help you so that you can, be aided in making your decisions about what apps to use. But that's my 2 cents or 10 cents for whatever it's worth on, sort of when and how to take on new apps to boost your client services in your practice. As always, if you have any questions or concerns or feedback, you can reach me at seth@nerdenterprises.com or seth@sethdavid.com. Either way, I'll get your email, and either way, I'll get back to you, usually within 24 hours.